Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. There was a bit of a technical problem. My streaming software completely just froze up, shut down, and ended the stream. So I'm starting a new stream, and we will try to continue on and pick up where we left off. I think it's working. I don't know. But yeah, I'll give everyone a few minutes to get back in here, and we will play this game. And as everyone's coming back in, I'll answer a few more questions here. Christian Corbett says, been watching since 2013. So glad you're back full time. I always wish films had definitive posters like how albums have one definitive cover. I agree with you. Sometimes you get so many different variations of a poster, and then a majority of posters now don't feel like art. They feel like floating heads with the title, and it feels disposable. Like no one wants to go home, take that and put it on their house or put it in their bedroom at home. I miss like Star Wars illustrative posters. I miss Indiana Jones type posters or Back to the Future illustrative posters. Those stand the test of time. Or posters like Jaws, which I think when it comes to like a design of a one sheet / poster, Jaws is perfection. So yeah, I completely agree with you on there. There's movies I love that don't have good posters, and it hurts me inside. I wish there was just more to it. Okay, yeah, I'm going to let people still come in here. Hopefully people are figuring it out. I had to start a new live show tonight. I did not expect to have to do 2 separate streams, but Streamlabs just froze up and shut off. So please forgive my sins. But I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So Skylar Wheelock said, John, don't want to have a midlife crisis when I say this, but you're now older than Marv was in the first Home Alone. Daniel Stern was 33 at the time. What's your favorite Home Alone trap? Well, thank you for that. That hurt me inside. I'm 37 and Marv was 33 in Home Alone. That hurts. Okay. That makes me want to go step on some Christmas bulbs and think about my life. Or maybe get hit in the head with a can or a paint can. But what was the next part of your question? Oh, yes. My favorite Home Alone trap? Probably the Micro Machines. But really, when it comes down to it, in Home Alone 2, when Kevin McAllister hooks up the battery with the jumper cables, and Marv touches it and electrocutes himself and literally becomes a plastic skeleton. That to me is where maybe they went too far, but at the same time, I'm glad they did. Landon Lee says, okay, let's start here. Let's just play the game. Here it goes. You guys ready to play Pick the Flick? Here it goes. Is everybody back now? We have 75 people back. All right, let's just play the game before this shit freezes up again. Here it goes. Pick the Flick! Yay! I hope you enjoyed that. Was that worth doing a new live stream for? I'm not quite sure it was, but nevertheless, we did. Okay, Landon Lee says, row 2, number 16. And the way we're going to play Pick the Flick, if you're just catching up, is tell me which shelf back there on the Blu-ray shelves, and then start from the left and tell me how many movies over to pick from. So row 2, number 16. And thank God I'm wearing pants. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, yeah. Here we go. And the movie that you picked was The Hateful Eight on Blu-ray. This is one of my favorite Tarantino films, and I have rewatched this movie probably more than anyone else on the planet. Some people say this movie has no rewatchability. I completely disagree. I rewatch this movie at least once a year, and I think it's a cozy, violent, phenomenal experience where all takes place in this cabin during this blizzard. But if you want something that feels like a live action stage play And those are the types of movies I quite enjoy and appreciate. Movies like Glenn Ross, or movies like The Whale with Brendan Fraser. Those were stage plays adapted to movies. And though this wasn't, it sort of feels like it could have been. But this movie, when it's snowy out and I want to get a little cozy and a little weird and I want some bloodshed, I always go back and watch The Hateful Eight. And I think the biggest detriment here is I only own this on Blu-ray and I don't own the 4K, which is pretty embarrassing if I say so myself. But one of my favorite things relating to The Hateful Eight was when they released the extended cut on Netflix, and they had it in like 3 or 4 different. The Ghost Sour Patch Kids is coming back up, but when they released this in 4 different parts on Netflix, I loved that because it almost felt episodic, and it made the movie so much more consumable. And I remember there was one year where every night I would watch one of those parts when I came home with Chipotle and just immersed into the movie again. So that was Hateful Eight. Okay, the next one here. Let's see. We got one here from Steel Force, who's a YouTube member. He says, shelf number 3, number 24. Okay, let me go pick this bad boy up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 20. All right. Well, hey, we just had Thanksgiving. Why not talk about the quintessential must-watch Thanksgiving movie? Really, this is the only movie you ever need to watch around Thanksgiving. It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on 4K. Now, this is still in the plastic. I've never watched the 4K version because I had the Blu-ray for many years, and I just watched this. The most recent viewing of this was last Thanksgiving, but I love this film. I think this is one of the best odd couple comedy movies of all time, and there's nothing better when you combine that with a road trip movie. And John Candy in this film, just what a likable, lovable, sort of annoying guy who sells shower ring curtains, but he pulls on the heartstrings. Yeah, great movie. If you've seen the 4K, does it look pretty good? Let me know. All right. The next one comes from... Yeah, very comfortable and cozy. And then it just gets into violence and brutality. Yeah, Hateful Eight. All right, the next one's going to come from... Let's go with GFE Hostman, who says... What the fuck does section number 9 mean? Okay. 8, 9. I don't know what section number 9 means. I don't have a section number 9. There's 4 rows of Blu-ray shelves. So let's just go with... I'll make that over there section number 9 for the sake of the conversation. So section number 9, 16 over. Let's go with it. Okay, the movie you picked was Creed 2 on 4K. I liked the first Creed quite a bit, and going into Creed 2, I was really looking forward to the antagonist of this film. He's finally fighting the son of Drago, the man who killed his father. And the dude that they got to play Drago's son, he definitely looked the part. He's a huge, like, jacked up dude who's 6'5" and weighs 300 pounds of pure muscle. But I don't know if he was the best actor. And this movie to me sort of felt a bit underwhelming. I thought the training montage out in the desert under a tent felt odd. It wasn't what I wanted from it. And I think the first one's far superior. I think there's just more they could have done with this movie to capture, like, the storyline from Rocky IV where his father does in fact get beaten to death. I just don't feel like this was the conclusion worth waiting 30 years for in Creed 2. All right, the next one comes from... the 4K transfer is just okay. That's fine. Tiger Town says this is scripted, guys. JK, how would this be scripted? All right, the next one comes from. I put together a script. I dedicated 3 days to writing a screenplay for this segment. The next one is shelf number 4, the third movie over. Okay, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Parasite on 4K. Now, Parasite was my favorite film of 2019. I love it, and I can't wait to see Mickey 17, which comes out on the 17th of next year, 2 days before my birthday. But if you haven't seen Parasite, can't recommend it enough. I wish there were more films made like this. I love South Korean style filmmaking because it doesn't hold back. It doesn't pull punches. It's weird. It's zany. And the twist of this movie I thought was brilliant. So if you've never seen Parasite, definitely check it out. Great looking movie. All right, the next one. Let's see. What's the next pick going to be? Shelf number 1, the 7th movie over. Let's do that one. Here we go. And you picked Zombieland on Blu-ray. Now, when it comes to Zombieland, I like it. I've always liked Zombieland, but I will say this. I enjoy the first act of Zombieland more than anything else in the movie. Soon as they meet up with Little Miss Sunshine and Emma Stone, I'm not saying I don't like me some Emma Stone. That's not it. I'm just saying I enjoyed the buddy romance dynamic between Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg in this movie, where they're just driving around trying to find Twinkies. I wanted more of that. Like, if you would have just given me 90% of that, I would have been happy with it. But anyway, Zombieland. And I hated the sequel. All right, the next one is going to come from, let's see. Let's do, let's see, let's do Danny here, who says Shelf 3, movie number 10. Okay, here we go. Oh, shit. We got the Steelbook of Boys in the Hood. Ricky! I love this film. When it comes to urban culture films, and I was just having this discussion the other day with someone, I immensely have always loved these. Like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, Juice, Baby Boy. I love that shit. I can't get enough of it. So anyway, Boys in the Hood, one of my favorites. I actually remember watching this for the first time on HBO probably in like 1994 and just liking it then. And fun story, and I shared this. I actually, in 2014, I got a chance to interview some actors from a new TV show that was like canceled after the first season. It wasn't very good, but it was called Legends, starring Sean Bean. I think it was on TNT. Anyway, I got to interview Morris Chestnut, who was on that show, and I remember telling him, I was like, dude, ever since I saw you when I was like 10 years old as Ricky, and you got shot to death in that alleyway, I was like, man, it moved me. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. So anyway, that's Boys in the Hood. All right, Edward Nito, how's it going, man? Edward says, bottom shelf, 4th movie from the left. So that'd be that shelf down there. All right. And by the way, guys, if you say like 80th movie, that would go to that shelf over there. So I'm doing these in like, so like movie number 1 would be there, and it goes all the way across over there. I count that as one big shelf. Okay, Edward Nito, bottom shelf, 4th movie from the left. Let's do it. Okay, we did talk about this on the first part of this live stream before we had to make part 2, the sequel. Maybe that's what I'll title this, the sequel. Anyway, it's Snow White, the original animated film, which is always going to be far superior than the new live action film. And by the way, I think these 1930s looking dwarves in this film look more photorealistic than the new CGI abominations in the new live action movie. So anyway, that's Snow White on Blu-ray. I have not watched that movie in a very long time. But thanks for the question, Edward Nito. And real quick, Robert Giacinta. Robert asks, have you seen Dare Santa on Paramount Plus? It's so awful. I started laughing at the fact someone got paid to make this. I have not watched that. Is that the... That's the new Jack Black... Yes, it is. Well, you have a Jack Black Christmas movie that went direct to streaming. Did anyone else think it would be good? But hey, it's got a 5.3 in IMDb and a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. I almost just want to watch it so I can post my Rotten Tomatoes rating of it and drop the score even lower. But anyway, thank you for the question, man. I haven't watched it. Maybe I will. But then again, life is too short. All right, what's the next one here? The next one's going to be, let's see. Shelf number two, the 18th movie. Okay, let's do that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, all right. Family. So let's talk about Fast and Furious, or Fast 5. Now, in my opinion, this is the last watchable Fast and Furious film that they've ever made. This is like the last one that was like truly watchable. And don't get me wrong, the Paul Walker goodbye scene in Fast 7, I think it was, that was a moving scene, but the movie was just junk. Let's be honest, the movie was narrative junk. But Fast 5 was a good action movie. And this is the point right before they truly jumped the shark and you still cared about them as characters. Now, my only complaint with this Blu-ray, keep in mind, this is a steelbook, but it's not the same height of a normal Blu-ray. It's a little taller like a DVD, as you can see there. That's my problem with this. It's always stood out like a sore thumb on the shelf. And for that, I've always hated it. But I won't get rid of it. It reminds me of a better time in life. All right, let's do the next one here. Let's do shelf number 4, the 69th movie. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay. Okay, that's gonna be over there somewhere. So give me a second. So let's see, we got like 30 movies on that shelf. You know what? I don't think it went to 69 movies across that top shelf, but it did top out at like 50 something. It's John Wick Chapter 4 on 4K Blu-ray, but it's still in the plastic because I've not watched it yet on 4K. Now, I did see this in theaters, and I did enjoy it. I would say, when it comes to the John Wick movies, I think it goes, I like John Wick 1 and John Wick 4. Like, those are my two favorites of the entire franchise. And the thing I most enjoyed about John Wick 4 was, I just like the way this one looks more than the sequels, and I also enjoyed the story. But I really enjoyed there's a sequence in John Wick 4 where it's sort of a throwback to the movie The Warriors, where you have this group of like hitmen coming down this staircase and John Wick's just taking them all out. And it just, the music and the vibe of it just felt like a throwback, and it felt like a nod to the movie The Warriors. And I enjoyed little things like that. But John Wick 4, good time, man. Okay, we got one here from Nick Gibson, who says, shelf number 4, number 29. Okay, Nick, let's get it, man. So it's over here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm trying to count these as fast as I humanly possibly can. Okay, so here it is. We have Jurassic World Dominion on 4K. Now, for me, this is by far the worst Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie ever made. I think this is an abomination against humanity and a crime against cinema. I think this is the biggest bloated waste of potential, talent, and money you could have ever put on film. And it's truly a disgrace. And this, to me, is a slap in the face to anyone who's ever enjoyed a Jurassic Park film, because they bring back the original cast. They have the money. They have the talent. But this is what they gave us. Giant locusts are the subplot to this movie. And they couldn't even find anything for their original characters to do. Like, they're just sort of there, hanging out. And it just felt like such a waste. And then you have the entire subplot where it feels like some cheap James Bond spy thriller movie. Ugh, I hated that as well. So anyway, terrible movie, but I own it on 4K because I'm a completist, and I had to have it beside all my other Jurassic Park movies, which are far superior and far better. Social Native says, last movie on the last shelf flick pick. Okay, Social Native, I'm going to get it, man. So that technically would be down. Okay, so let me explain things in this room to you guys, all right? This shelf here, right, just has Blu-rays and 4Ks. This shelf over here has Blu-rays and 4Ks. But this shelf right here, these two rows on the bottom, are where I keep all my Steelbook titles. So I will technically count that as the last shelf. And you said get the last movie, right? Here, let me go get it. Okay. Okay, it's Equilibrium, the Steelbook. I've always enjoyed this movie, and I think the way they sold this was, let's make The Matrix without the Matrix or something. Like that's the style they were going for, but they didn't have quite enough money because all the futuristic settings, and keep in mind, I like Equilibrium. I really do. But the futuristic settings in this movie, you can just tell they didn't quite have the budget they wanted. For example, there's like these futuristic cars that they're driving around, but it just looks like some like cheap 1990s Buick Encore, and they just changed the hubcaps and spray painted the car. And I'm just like, that looks like my grandma's car with plastic hubcaps on it. And you're telling me this is like the future? I'm like, okay, they clearly didn't have the budget, but that's okay. And the only other thing I don't like about Equilibrium, and as much as I like it, and I think Christian Bale in the movie's awesome, when it comes to his kid in the film, I don't buy the twist by the end of the film. I just simply cannot buy that. It's a lot. It's a hard pill to swallow. But anyway, let's go to the next one here. Bradley Pooper, that's a great name, says either shelf, 6th movie or 9th movie, number 60. What? Or movie 69, number 69. What? Okay, either shelf. Okay, I'll go with movie 9. Okay. So the 6th shelf, movie number 9. Okay, that was a bit complicated. Let me do it. 4, 5, 6. Okay. It's the Blu-ray of Swordfish. Now, I'll keep it real with you guys. When I was a teenager going to see this movie, there were two main reasons every dude was talking about seeing this movie. And they both directly relate to Halle Berry. So anyway, we'll leave it there. But as far as this movie goes, it's okay. It's definitely a product of its time. And all the hacking scenes, I love hacking scenes in movies like this. The dude, like Hugh Jackman's character, has 9 monitors up on the wall, and he's just mashing buttons on a keyboard to hack into things. I love it. Like, what's happening here? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, let's pick a few more here. Someone said your shelf numbering makes no... No, it does make sense. It completely makes sense, I promise you. We're going left to right. Okay. Shelf number 3, row 8. All right, let's do that. Or, what'd you say? Shelf number 3, row 8? I don't... I'll just go 8 movies over. It's left to right. Okay. You know, it's funny. We just talked about Hugh Jackman in Swordfish, but he's back again with Real Steel. Essentially, the modern day remake of Over the Top. And I kind of enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It's a good guilty pleasure rainy day movie. And also from the same director of Deadpool and Wolverine. But anyway, if you've never seen Real Steel, I recommend it. It's a good feel-good movie if you want to see robots fight each other, and I do. I don't know about you, but yeah, Real Steel. All right. Let's see. Michael Bryan says Sean Chandler called you cringe. Thoughts? Did he? I don't know about that. I mean, it's slightly true, I guess. All right, let's see. I want to do my Sean Chandler impression. How does it go? I don't know. We'll do it with the next movie we pick out. Okay. Let's see. What's the next movie? Row number 5, number 5. Okay, let's do that. Okay, we have Space Jam on 4K. Still in the plastic. I've never watched Space Jam on 4K, though I've seen the movie multiple times. That was not my Sean Chandler impression of Space Jam. And our next movie is Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan. Now, let me preface with this. Bugs Bunny in this film, and I don't know, that's my Sean Chandler impression. All right, let's do just a few more. Michael O'Brien says he didn't, but thoughts on Sandusky. Oh, thanks, man. Sandusky, Ohio, it's got Cedar Point. It's 3 hours away. I've only been there to go to the amusement park of Cedar Point. Other than that. All right, let's pick a few more movies, and then I'm going to wrap up this live stream because I did not expect to do 2 parts of this shit tonight. So, let's do shelf number 2, number 13. Here we go. I Am the Law. Now, Dredd is a movie that should have gotten a sequel like 8 years ago. And it still baffles me. Nobody will make a sequel to this movie, though you could make it very cheap, in my opinion, or you could make like a limited series. I could see this doing very well. I really could. Dredd was a great, phenomenal, simple action movie that, in my opinion, is a hidden gem and will be talked about in 10 years when people say like, hey, what's a good action movie no one talks about? It's definitely Dredd. So Carl Urban in that movie was phenomenal. I'm so mad we never got a sequel. Sean Chandler's a good guy. Yeah, Sean's always been a nice guy. I've hung out with him many times. Sean Chandler is a fellow YouTube movie reviewer. That's who Sean Chandler is. Okay, Robert Giachinita. I always say your last name wrong, but that's fine. Lick the inside of Sean C. Phillips' hat or a urinal. I love me some Cool Duder, man. Sean C. Phillips. Can I just do my Sean C. Phillips impression real quick? Hey guys, here's my December 9th DVD update, and we're talking about Dread. Great guy. I like the top of his head, no questions asked. Real quick, and I'll say this: if you guys don't know who Sean C. Phillips is, he has a YouTube channel, and he's sort of a huge advocate for like physical media, and that was literally one of the first YouTube channels I ever subscribed to. It was him and his buddy MJ, and they would go to the movies, they'd go hang out, go to stores, and they'd shoot videos in their parents' basement. Good times. Okay, last section, Steelbook number 14. Okay, let's do this. Ooh. Good pick, good pick. This is one of the movies I don't mind looking at Jared Leto in. It's Requiem for a Dream. The Steelbook, 4K, sexy looking Steelbook. Jennifer Connelly in this movie, top notch, even though she's addicted to drugs. But this movie should be shown to every adolescent on the planet, simply for the fact, if you don't want kids to do drugs, show them Marlon Wayans puking up mashed potatoes in prison. There you go. Great movie. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show there, guys. I just wanted to play the game, Pick the Flick with you, since I promised it on the previous live stream. But anyway, I do appreciate it. And by the way, Kara Sanawa has become a member. Yay! Thanks, man. Thank you so much. All right. So, yeah, ass to ass. Absolutely. All right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the live show there, guys. But real quick, since I didn't get to wrap up the last one that we did, the first part of this trilogy, watch this one cut out, and then we'll do a third part of the live stream tonight. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you guys for the questions, the comments. It does mean a lot. It does help out so much. I do appreciate it. And really, I mean it when I say it. Thanks for being here. It's really awesome, and it's one of my favorite things to do. But nevertheless, I'm gonna go take a shower now, and I think you know what I'm really going to do. I think I'm gonna go eat some frozen pizza and watch reruns of Better Call Saul. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.